There's a stage in every journey of change where it all feels meaningless, where the effort looks too insignificant to matter. You sip some water, breathe for 5 minutes, take a walk instead of scrolling, and nothing seems to transform overnight. You wonder, does this even make a difference? But here's the secret nobody emphasized. The field doesn't measure change in speed. It measures in steady signals, which means each tiny choice, every microscopic act of alignment, is quietly sending ripples into your quantum field, whether you sense it or not. This is the ripple law of quantum, the truth that no action is ever separate. Every decision, no matter how small, creates a chain of energetic effects. And these effects don't stop with you. They vibrate outward. They are transmitting instructions to your future, to the people you'll meet, to the opportunities that will find you in ways you cannot foresee. Picture yourself standing beside a silent lake. You drop a single pebble, fragile, almost weightless. Waves spread across the surface, widening silently in every direction. You don't control where those ripples go, but they travel, they move, they touch everything. That's what occurs every time you do something aligned with your highest self, however small. One glass of water, one written line, one pause before reacting, one act of self-respect. The universe doesn't rank the size of the action. It registers the frequency inside it. And here's the overlooked truth. The field never ignores you. It always answers at the vibration you sustain, and most importantly at the rhythm of your consistency. It's not about force. It's about coherence. It's not one healthy meal that changes your biology. It's the ripple born when that meal is repeated, embodied, and witnessed with presence. Over time, ripples merge. They form a wave. And that wave carries you into timelines you could never step into through effort alone. Let's make it practical. You rise tomorrow and decide, not dramatically, not ceremonially, simply to sit in silence for 3 minutes before your day starts. Not to get enlightened, not to manifest a mansion, but just to meet yourself. That quiet act makes a ripple. You begin grounded. Maybe you don't argue with your partner like usual. Maybe you choose a better meal. Maybe that fuels clearer focus at work. Suddenly inspiration strikes. You send the message you'd been delaying. A reply comes. A door opens. None of that was visible from the start. It didn't look like change was happening, but it was. This is the paradox. The biggest shifts often hide inside the smallest choices, because repeated with presence, they reprogram the way you signal into the field. And the field, always intelligent, always listening, begins arranging itself around your updated frequency. We were taught that transformation comes through leaps, dramatic decisions, breakthroughs or breakdowns. But quantum law doesn't operate in spectacle. It works in vibration, in subtle adjustments, in stepping into new timelines before proof appears. That's the real nature of habits. Not routines, not productivity hacks. They are daily declarations of identity. They are the way you tell the field who you've decided to be. And if you maintain that signal long enough, reality will fold into coherence with it. This is why no action is wasted. No breath, no step, no micro moment of alignment. Each is a pebble, each a ripple, each shaping a lake not yet visible. The shift begins when you stop craving immediate proof and begin trusting the law of compounded vibration, because eventually those ripples merge into a wave so strong it lifts you out of the version of reality you thought you were trapped in. So if you've been waiting for a massive breakthrough, pause, inhale, and drop a fresh pebble today. That glass of water, that stretch, that single paragraph from the book you've resisted, that 90-second meditation, that tiny decision is not small. It is a quantum directive, a signal declaring, this is who I am now. And the universe always honors declarations of identity wrapped in frequency. In the minutes ahead, we'll explore how unseen waves of habits sculpt your life in ways far more powerful than effort ever could. You'll understand why your most sacred practices are often the smallest, and you'll discover how to turn daily living into a playground of quantum alignment, ripple by ripple. There is a certain magic hidden in the ordinary, but only if you learn how to notice. The way you brush your teeth, the way you pour your coffee, the way you speak to yourself before anyone else does. These moments don't appear powerful. They don't feel spiritual, but in quantum terms, they are. Because every small behavior is a broadcast, and your field listens even when your mind does not. Modern psychology may call this habit stacking or behavioral anchoring. In quantum language, it's vibrational sequencing, an invisible pattern of microactions that either weave you into coherence or drag you toward entropy, and that alignment or dissonance accumulates through time, not in explosions, but in quiet, almost unseen layers. You wake late, skip the breath, grab your phone, your system tightens. You enter your day already off rhythm. You feel rushed, scattered, irritable. And when you later try to fix it with affirmations, a salad, or a meditation, it doesn't land. Why? Because the ripple has already spread. The sequence is in motion. Now imagine the other path. Same morning, but you place your feet on the ground with awareness. You pause. You breathe. You whisper gently, "Today I align." You drink your water with intention. You listen not to the outer noise but to your body. In that one subtle shift, you redirected your path, not just emotionally, but energetically. The ripple you created won't just soften your morning. It could redirect an opening 5 days from now. You altered the timeline without effort. You practiced the butterfly effect of quantum, beginning with your routine. It isn't random, it's resonance. The field doesn't measure size, it measures precision. And that is the principle that rewires everything. You don't need to push harder to change. You need only stop scattering your energy. You must collapse coherence into the now. Because it's not what you do that creates resonance, it's how whole you are when you do it. Let's bring it close. Have you seen how when you skip exercise, your food choices shift? Or when you oversleep, you speak more harshly to yourself? Or when you skip journaling, you overreact in meetings? These aren't accidents, they are energetic chains. Your system is trying to regulate at a lower frequency, and it compensates in fractured ways. Truth is, no habit stands alone. Each action touches the next. Each vibration weaves into the following. Every choice sets the tuning fork for the field you step into. And here's the missing key. Most think they need a breakthrough habit, the one move that changes all. But in quantum, it's rarely the big act. It's the first act, the anchor, the spark that recalibrates the cascade of choices to follow. That's why mornings are sacred. Not because wellness trends demand routines, but because your first frequency sets the tone of your entire day's dialogue with the field. If you begin in chaos, the field echoes chaos. If you begin in presence, the field returns clarity. It isn't cosmic judgment, it's physics. This doesn't mean every morning must begin with perfection. You don't need an hour of mountain meditation. You don't need juice cleanses or glowing salt lamps. You simply need conscious entry into the field of your own day. That may take 30 seconds, a breath, a line of truth. And the compounding, that's where miracles form. Because that single act of presence nudges you toward a clearer meal. That clarity helps you handle a talk with less ego. That lighter interaction shifts your mood into the afternoon, guiding you to make a call, which opens a path. And that path changes your trajectory, not because you plotted it, but because you planted it. And it began with how you lifted your cup. This is the quiet holiness of ordinary life. The quantum ripple isn't mystical. It's mechanical. It's how the universe magnifies what you embody, instantly. The field has no opinion. It only mirrors. It echoes. It calibrates to what you feed most faithfully. So the real question is, what are you transmitting? In the next few minutes, we'll explore what unfolds when ripples are repeated, refined, and trusted, not briefly, but as a new identity. You'll see how the tiniest becomes magnetic, how the unseen becomes inevitable, and how your smallest actions become the bedrock of your future self. You don't need revolution. You need rhythm. A rhythm so steady, so true, so coherent that the field has no option but to respect it. Because what you repeat with presence becomes holy, and what becomes holy reconstructs reality. Let's strip away the myth of all or nothing. In quantum truth, small coherence always outweighs grand chaos, because alignment amplifies. And often the smallest change is the loudest message the universe can hear. You don't have to believe it. You only need to remember. Let me offer a story. A woman once felt she lost her creative spark. Years passed without writing. Each time she tried, Overwhelm returned. I can't write a book, she thought. I lack time. I don't know where to begin. So she never began. For 5 years the desire stayed silent until one day she promised herself 5 minutes of journaling daily. Just 5. No rules, no goal. The first week felt useless. The second, her words shifted. The third, something opened. Ideas moved. Old energy cleared. Within a year she finished a manuscript. Today she's published, her voice reaching thousands. All because she made the small sacred. Another man felt unfit, disconnected, ashamed. He didn't buy weights. He didn't hire trainers. He just walked. 10 minutes daily, rain or shine, shoes on, music low, moving honestly. Not to lose weight, not to impress, but because his body was done waiting for the perfect plan. That daily walk grew into 30 minutes, then more water. Then new food choices. 2 years later, he transformed not just his body, but began mentoring others. Not through punishment, but through presence. Or the young woman who gave up her daily latte, not from guilt, but to prove redirecting energy mattered. Each day she moved $6 into savings. She watched it grow in money and in self-respect. That habit expanded into studying investing, reshaping her spending identity, and eventually funding her dream business. All from one repeated choice, clear and simple. What ties these stories together? None began with perfection. They began with a decision to anchor energy into practice, not once but again and again. Because in quantum law, consistency forms identity, and identity collapses potential into matter. The mistake most people make is waiting for motivation. But motivation is noisy. It flares bright, and it burns fast. Sacred practice doesn't depend on motivation. It depends on meaning. A habit becomes meaningful when you choose it even when it feels ordinary, especially when it feels ordinary. That's when it weaves into your signature field. The universe isn't counting repetitions. It's tuning.